Today we're going to be talking about the topic on every Jump Force player's mind. Are we going to get a Season 2? I do realize why people would want a Season 2. It's upsetting to find out that your favorite character is probably not going to make it to the game, but there's a lot to look forward to in Season 1 if we believe the Datamind DLC list, which features a lot of really cool characters. But of course, because we are greedy consumers, the question has arisen, will Jump Force actually get a Season 2? And in the past, I would have pretty concisely said no. A second season of DLC is usually reserved for fighting games. It used to be a pretty exclusive feature to fighting games, and that's because fighting games, A, are the type of games that would want multiple seasons of DLC, and B, there's not usually a lot of content that needs to be packed into a fighting game because the people who play fighting games are going to continue to sustain it inherently because they're busy trying to get better and play against each other. People want to always play that game regardless if there's new content being added to it, so there's always going to be people present to purchase the DLC content. But recently, anime games have been offering a Season 2. Obviously, we're not going to count Dragon Ball FighterZ because that's also a fighting game, but obviously Xenoverse 2 received a lot of DLC content. Again, I wouldn't necessarily count Xenoverse because it almost has like a MMORPG model, so it makes sense that they would receive a lot of DLC, but the more interesting thing is Shinobi Striker that just got a Season 2 announced, which is genuinely surprising to me. The question is, does that increase Jump Force's chances of getting a second season? Not really. However, it does give us a chance to reevaluate the situation. I'm currently under the impression that the DLC characters we get are going to come with some type of story content, or mission content, I should say. I think this for two different reasons. One is that there is a lot of Datamind text files that suggest there's some mission involving Kaiba, who is one of our first DLC characters, of course. It sounds like some of that dialogue is going to be lobby interactions, meaning you're going to be able to walk up and talk to Kaiba, but another part of it sounds like an actual mission where you and Yugi Moto are going to be sent to go help the CEO of Kaiba Corp, which is of course, Kaiba. On top of that, if you look at the missions in-game right now, between levels 70 and 100, there isn't a lot of missions you can actually do. To end up raising your character's levels, you have to repeat a lot of missions, which is fine, but it just feels like there's a little bit of a gap there that will be filled in over time. I think this is important to bring up because it speaks to how much work goes into each DLC pack. Not only is there 3 characters in there, but there's potentially some DLC story/mission content. But even despite that extra work, I do think that we're going to be getting a second season of DLC. Allow me to make my case. I've actually thought we were going to get a second season of DLC for quite some time, all the way back when Kaiba's moveset was first Datamind. I tweeted something along the lines of, considering how far along Kaiba and All Might are, Season 2 is looking pretty likely to me. And on top of that, there was a very recent survey or poll conducted by Bandai Namco, and they asked questions about what series you like in Jump Force. And while I doubt it's as simple as this series got more votes, so let's give them a character, they probably do ask questions like that to figure out, is it going to be worth us to make a Black Clover character? Is it going to be worth us making a JoJo's characters, or whatever series you want to plug into that question? It gives them valuable information about different series. I mean, obviously they know My Hero Academia is popular, obviously they know Dragon Ball, Naruto, and One Piece are popular, but it gives them more specific numbers compared to those series. And sure, that doesn't give them an entirely accurate representation of who's going to be purchasing the DLC, but it does give them an idea to work off of. But they shouldn't have a reason to ask these questions, because of course we do have the Datamind DLC list, so the only reason they would have to ask this question is if all of the DLC wasn't already decided. And unless they intend to cycle out some of the already Datamind DLC characters, which seems pretty unlikely, it sounds like they might be working on a Season 2. And at this point, I would expect every character in Season 1 to already been worked on, at least to some extent. We already know for a fact that All Might, Kaiba, Toshiro, and Biscuit have been worked on. All Might and Kaiba pretty much have a complete moveset, but that's been the case for some time now. It wouldn't surprise me to find out that since then, All Might and Kaiba are actually nearly complete, if not actually complete. Toshiro and Biscuit are probably much further along, and I would imagine that other characters have been worked on as well. My point is, from a production standpoint, whoever's making the decisions should have already made all of those decisions, and it's now up to the employees, the people who actually code the game, animate things, create special effects. They should already have their tasks in front of them. They should already know each of the steps they have to take moving forward. So with that in mind, the people who do make the decisions should be, or will be soon, free to make more of those decisions about Season 2. And don't get me wrong, now it's not the time to start speculating about specific characters for Season 2. After all, we don't know how many characters we are going to get, or even if we are going to get a Season 2. But personally, I wanted to lay out my thoughts on Season 2. Now keep in mind, a lot of what we talked about in this video is speculation. Please do not expect a Season 2, but I do want to say that I do think we are going to get a Season 2. It's a bit of a bold prediction right now. There's a lot of people out there who think the game's dead and that we're not going to get a Season 2. But at this point, I think we will. But again, that's just my speculation and opinion. If you enjoyed this video and you're new around here, make sure you're subscribed. If you're not new around here, or even if you are, leave a like on the video. It helps other people find it. My name has been Bilbzy, and I'll see you in the next video.